So that's looking at the reading in general, what you have to do. So you want to read from end of book 3 to the beginning of book 5, uh, and work with it. And then the seminar number 2, excuse me, is going to ask you to look specifically at aphorism 341. And so why are we doing this? Why are we again working with a smaller text, and how are we using this text? So we're using Nietzsche's text to open up IH2 to be more or less the beginning text, the text that operates as an epigraph or a metaphor for the whole program, not the whole program, but the whole 15 semester class. So this is getting us to think about things in different ways. It's allowing us to apply sort of our pedagogical method to class, or introduce you to the pedagogical method in class. So that's why we're using it. So a little bit of background on how to understand this text. So Nietzsche is, I think the best way to understand it is that Nietzsche, writing in the late 19th century, is responding to pretty much Socrates and Plato, who are located some 2,000 years before Nietzsche is writing. So Socrates and Plato are considered, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, ancient Greece is considered the birthplace of the Western philosophical tradition. And one could see it for about 2,000 years. Plato, Socrates pretty much rule the roost, that they define the categories, the ways of seeing the world in this philosophical sense. And it's really not until Nietzsche that we get the great sort of modern, or sometimes referred to as postmodern, reaction, response. So Nietzsche in a lot of ways is taking down the 2,000 year tradition of the Socratic Platonic revolution. So if you see it in that sense, then you could also think, and this is for people who took IH1, if you took IH1, you might have read Plato and Socrates, and you might have read the Parable of the Cave, the famous Parable of the Cave or Allegory of the Cave. And that's what I teach in IH1 to open up class, and I teach Nietzsche to open up IH2. So I'm going to be referring to the Parable of the Cave in the rest of the podcast here as a way of giving you a context for understanding things.